I can't believe it's been 10 years at Total Mortgage. And it actually hit me. And I was like, wow, man, 10 years ago. I've told this story before, but when I got sober, I had to start over. So I went to a big bank. I went to Wells Fargo. And I blew the fucking doors off of production in Wells Fargo. Like my first year, second year sobriety, and I hit the fucking ground running when I got home. I came home to get sober, stayed sober. God willing, got me a job at Wells Fargo, the biggest bank in the fucking country at the time, doing mortgages, and I was able to get a job. And I became the top producer there fast. Things were great. And long story short, I won't get into details. I ended up getting fired from Wells Fargo for something I didn't do. And at that point, it was devastating because Daniel was a year old. Daniel was like a month old, not a year old. Daniel was a month old and I lost all benefits. And they fired me. They cut off access to my accounts. And it was this big thing. Long story short, I went back after them and I got paid. They fucked with me and I got my money back. But at that point, I was at the Mortgage Bankers Convention that we go to every year. They fired me there. I was working with Scott Penner. Scott had Penner Law Firm in, what was this, 2013, 2014. When I was at Wells Fargo, Wells had Wells Fargo clients. And being a loan officer at Wells Fargo, you have access to those clients. And I was able to build a network within Wells Fargo, right? I learned a ton of Wells Fargo before I got fired. They had high performance sales. They had a lot of things that helped me be a better loan officer because I was already in the mortgage business for 8 years at the time. And I learned a ton at Wells Fargo. I don't regret it. I'll never go to a big bank again, but I was able to learn a ton. When I got fired at the Mortgage Bankers Convention, which is today, so I got fired in January of 2014 from Wells Fargo, I had a good relationship with Scott Penner, who's now the CEO of Total Mortgage. And Scott and I had become friends because I was giving him title orders and we were doing events together and we were hanging out. My area manager came down to the Mortgage Bankers Convention and fucking fired me. They brought me there, brought me to dinner, and brought us all to dinner. And then at the end of the convention day, they fired me at the casino. For me, like, I'm super emotional, especially when it was something I didn't do. So like my first reaction is to fight or hurt, right? And then the second reaction is like I get upset, right? I get super emotional. And I started to get real emotional because I thought I was going to lose it. I was sober at the time, but I had just had Daniel, and Daniel was only about 3 weeks old. And that's all that kept going through my head is I don't have health insurance for my kid. And God forbid he gets sick. Scott comes into the bathroom. I mean, I was like, dude, what's up? He's like, you all right? I'm like, no, they just fired me for no reason. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, well, we'll figure it out. And fast forward, I had this epiphany. Look, when I got fired, I was doing about $60-70 million a year at Wells Fargo. When I got fired, I had $25 million locked. And at that Mortgage Bankers Convention, there's all these mortgage companies recruiting. So I'm like, oh shit. I'm like a fucking free agent with a bunch of agents looking for talent. I mean, I had my pay stubs. I knew what my production report was. I was like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm here. I got fired. I'm going to go find a new opportunity. Little did I know, fast forward, I ended up at Total Mortgage where Scott was the head attorney for Total Mortgage at the time. I went to Citibank, Chase, Prospect Mortgage, Bank of America. There's a lot of these local places that I went to. A few companies that were local at the time. I started getting all these offers. And they were paying money for loan officers with production. I was a good loan officer. I knew what I was doing. And I met with Scott again. He's like, why don't you talk to Total? Why don't you just look at Total? And this was a couple weeks later when I was collecting offers. And I asked him, because Scott and I had become very close. And I was like, dude, what should I do? What should I take? Like, should I look at can you help me look at these? And he's like, yeah, well, why don't you just talk to Total? Total Mortgage had an inside sales rookie program that they had just started. Total Mortgage pre-2013 was an internet shop. Refinances and purchase in 10, 20 states, about 20 loan officers at the time. I had learned mortgage on the phones, cold calling, taking leads. So I knew that game very well. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me think about this. So I went and I sat with the owner, John Walsh. Keep in mind, I had good offers already at the table and I just wanted to meet John. Scott was my friend. I trusted him. And he was like, just go talk to him. And when I sat with John Walsh, the first thing he said was, TJ, we make mortgages fun. I had just been through bankruptcy. I had just got fired from Wells Fargo. I had been through the 2008, 2009 crash. Places went out of business. I moved back across the country, had to change jobs. It was super hectic. It was not fun. And when John Walsh had said that was different than any other recruiters, I was down the road with these people. They were giving me money to start, great opportunities, area managements. And I end up at a call center in Milford on the Post Road with about 18 to 20 other loan officers because John Walsh told me that mortgages were fun at his company. I took less money. I took less of a split, and I've been at Total Mortgage ever since. That's why I'm at Total Mortgage. So a lot of it was Scott being there for me at the times I needed, and then meeting with John and sitting down, and John told me the mortgages are fun when I was beat the fuck down. A lot of loan officers right now are beat down. They are beat down. They are overworked. They are underpaid. They are very stressed. And Total Mortgage has a culture that John Walsh was talking about. Fast forward 10 years, that culture has gotten even stronger, even bigger, about 400 people right now, 250 plus loan officers, 35, 40 branches. We still have that culture, but it's even louder. And because we're a bigger company, company now. 10 years ago, we were about 18, 20 LOs. Now we have 250, 300. 2023, we hired 81 loan officers. While companies are shrinking, we are growing. Total, we've been a leader here in Connecticut. I feel like I have been a big part of that. I have a pretty big team, but I'm also a corporate guy. I've been with Total for 10 years and I see the vision. We've always had the same vision: helping people, making mortgages fun, and making money. We're the #1 purchase lender in Connecticut, 2nd year in a row. And if you drive up and down 95, especially around Fairfield, Bridgeport, Stratford, Milford, and even on 91 now, we got the arena, we got billboards. As the market changes this time, the consumer and the realtors don't want to deal with the big name layered banks. They want the neighborhood professional. That's the local guy here in their neighborhood that's going to do their loan. And we've been positioned well for it. We are big in Connecticut. We are big in Massachusetts. We're big in New England and Florida in our markets. And, one of the things that has helped us get to that level at Total Mortgage is we are big into the community involvement. Total Mortgage has their own foundation where they give back money and they donate and they spend time and we raise money. I have started a foundation with my partners. We give back locally to the community. That's what you need to do. You cannot keep what you do not give, right? You can't keep what you don't give away, right? So if you make money, you should give some money away. Total Mortgage has done that. Being a local lender right now is the win because that's what the borrower and the clients who are real estate agents want. They want the local, knowledgeable banker that can help their clients get into the house fast without any headaches and without a lot of layers. You should come check out the Total Mortgage headquarters because it's big. It puts a perspective on like our culture, and we're going to start doing a lot of events, a lot of local events for the realtors and the borrowers in our building because like we got this cool game room and we hang out there, we do events there, we do courses, classes, trainings. It's a great company.